Well, we get asked all the time for, what can I leave out? And I mean, that's the first question. And our answer is you can't leave any of it out because really, if you look at it carefully, it's all integrated. But a legitimate question, which we have tried to address, is in what order should we make changes? And one of the learnings from our early experience was that there was a predilection, and when you think about it, it's a natural one, to do things, to make changes that didn't change fundamentally the way patients were being cared for. Mm-hmm. So they would work on the information system or the measurement system or something that didn't involve what a typical interaction with a patient looked like or felt like from either the provider or the patient perspective. And sometimes we'd go through the whole collaborative and we get to the very end and we'd find that fundamentally patients were being cared for in exactly the same way they were at the beginning of the collaborative. So we make it very clear, our goal is that the care of every patient with whatever the target condition is has to change. The care has to change, not just the IT system or whatever. The care has to change. It's got to be more planned. It's got to involve greater involvement of patients. It's got to involve routine systematic self-management support. It's got to involve more intensive management for high-risk patients and so on, because that's what's associated with better outcomes. So to get there, as we talked about this morning, perhaps the single most important thing to enable a practice to better manage chronic illness is to help them see that they've got to get a team doing it and not leaving it all to the doctor. So once we assure that their leadership is supportive, because that's the other killer. If whoever is leading that practice doesn't care, it's unlikely that things are going to go very far. So we make sure that's in place. But then the first thing we really work on is do you have a functioning clinical team? And we spend time on that. And then once a clinical team is in place, then the focus is on getting them to start building planning into their interactions with patients. As we talked about this morning, we used to talk about planned care as a special visit that's practice initiated and so on, but we've moved away from that because if you don't change fundamentally every visit, you're not going to see major impacts on outcomes. So now we try to help them build planning, some degree of planning into every visit by using the registry and by using the team and by having pre-session huddles so that they can kind of organize care so that people don't leave a visit or a phone call or an email without attention to what the guidelines say they need and their indicators say they need. And then once they get the notion of a planned visit, team care and a planned visit, then how do you do self-management, high quality self-management support on a routine basis? Mm-hmm. And if you can do those three things, I mean, that changes care for every patient, every interaction, and they start to see things get better. It's really not what you leave out, it's sort of the order in which you do it.